Thank you for joining us. My name is Jennifer Homendy, and I'm a board member with the National Transportation Safety Board. First, on behalf of the NTSB, I want to extend our deepest sympathies to those who were impacted by this tragic event. I want to start by introducing our investigator in charge, who we call the IIC. His name is Aaron Sauer. That's S-A-U-E-R. He will be assisted by a multidisciplinary team here in Alaska, and then also back in Washington, D.C., and at the NTSB's lab, which is also in Washington, D.C. We'll have on the ground 14 people from the NTSB, including 3 from our Alaska regional office, which is based in Anchorage. 11 are on scene now, 3 are actually on the way. I want to start by thanking the first responders and those who have participated in the recovery and response efforts. It was a multi-agency effort, and I want to especially thank the Coast Guard, the American Red Cross, the Alaska State Troopers, Ketchikan Volunteer Rescue Squad, and a host of state and local agencies, including local fire department personnel. Here's what we know so far, and I want to stress this is preliminary information. We have a lot of information to collect and a lot of information that we need to verify. So again, this is preliminary. 2 air tour operators were involved in a Midair collision at about 12:21 p.m. Alaska time yesterday. The first plane was a DHC-3T Turbine Otter that was owned and operated by Takwon Air. 11 people were on board, 1 pilot and 10 passengers. On the second plane was a DHC-2 Beaver, owned and operated by Mountain Air Service. 5 people were on board, 1 pilot and 4 passengers. Preliminary data shows, and again this is preliminary, that the Takwon plane was on a southwest heading inbound to Ketchikan. It descended from about 3,800 feet to between 3,200 and 3,300 feet at about 126 knots, which is approximately 149 miles per hour. The second plane, the Mountain Air plane, was on a west-southwest heading, also inbound to Ketchikan, maintaining an altitude of about 3,300 feet at 106 knots, which is about 125 miles per hour. The 2 planes converged between 3,200 and 3,300 feet on the west side of the George Inlet. Again, I want to stress that this is preliminary information. We have requested flight track data from the Federal Aviation Administration, including we want to see if there were other planes operating in the area. We want to then match that data, we hope, with information that we obtain from the Chelton Electronic Flight Information System, which was on the Takwon airplane. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get questions on the accident scene. We'll have more information on that tomorrow. After this briefing, I will be leaving with the team to go to the accident scene so I can talk about that, assuming weather is okay. I can talk about that a bit more tomorrow to tell you what I was able to observe. We will have an organizational meeting tonight at 5 p.m. At that organizational meeting, we'll establish the parties to the investigation, and we'll form the investigative groups. Those investigative groups focus on specific portions of the accident investigation and really drill down for the information that's required in those areas. And I'll have information on who those parties are and what groups were formed tomorrow. We'll also be scheduling a host of interviews. We will want to talk soon with the surviving pilot of the Takwon airplane. We'll want to talk to the passengers employees of the two air operators, and we'll also want to talk with other pilots and witnesses that were in the area at the time. We'll be gathering perishable evidence, and then we'll be requesting additional information from the parties and others that we determine necessary. I want to give you an idea of some of the types of information that we'll be requesting. We'll be looking at pilot logbooks. We'll be looking at the training and qualifications of the pilots, any medical issues, whether flight plans were filed with the company or the Federal Aviation Administration. We'll be looking at maintenance records for the aircraft, or both aircraft. We'll be looking at company operating procedures and whether those operating procedures were followed. We'll be looking at the routes that were flown. We do know that there were no cockpit voice recorders or flight data recorders on either of these planes, and that neither of the planes were required by regulation to have them. We will be looking at the terrain, weather conditions, FAA oversight of the operators, and cruise line sales of air tour excursions. For updates, please follow us on Twitter, and for the time and location of the next press briefing, we will also post that on Twitter at NTSB_newsroom. Now, if anyone has information that they believe would be valuable to the NTSB for this investigation, whether it's something that was witnessed, whether there were pictures taken or video that you might have, we would urge you to contact us at the following email address. It's witness@ntsb.gov. That's witness@ntsb.gov. Now, a couple of things I want to stress before I turn it over for questions. I expect investigators will be on scene between about 5 to 7 days. We will not be determining the probable cause of the accident in that time frame, nor will we speculate on the cause. We will, however, provide information that we're able to provide that is factual in nature. So with that in mind, I want to see if anyone has questions, and I would ask that you raise your hand. I'll call on you. Please state your name and your affiliation. Yes.
I'm with KRBD here in Ketchikan. My name is Layla. I was wondering about the age of the planes involved. Do you know when they were built?
The question is on the age of the planes, and I'm going to actually see if we have...
Still part of the records that were obtained.
Oh, so we've requested records on the planes, and that's something we'll look at as part of the investigation. Hopefully we'll know that in short order, and happy to provide an update. Yes?
You mentioned preliminary data shows kind of a sharp decline by one of the planes. Did it appear to be an unusual maneuver? Is there anything out of the ordinary about that?
Well, that is something that we'll look at as part of the investigation. Tomorrow we expect to recover the wreckage, and we have a structural expert with the NTSB that is here with us, and he will spend significant time trying to put together how the two planes came together. Yes.
Cassie Sherman, KTVA, Channel 11. Did weather have any factor possibly, and how was the weather yesterday with conditions?
We did obtain some photos on the weather, but we, there are additional photos that we need to obtain to. It's only one shot, so we want to see what else was going on. So weather is part of a normal accident investigation, so we will be looking into that. Other questions? Yes.
From CTV in Vancouver. Or were they operating in controlled airspace, or were they in uncontrolled airspace where they were sort of free to do whatever they wanted, or would they be talking to a tower where the accident happened?
Do you want to take that? I'm going to turn that over to our IIC.
As Member Hamady mentioned, we are going to be looking at all the information related to communications and operating procedures within that area. That is not a controlled area that they would be required to talk to a tower.
Any other questions? Thanks very much. Oh, well, there was one more. Yes. Sorry. Well, excuse me, and again, all we know right now is we do know the speed, and again, it's preliminary data. We've requested additional data to confirm that from the FAA. And so the preliminary data shows speed and altitude, but we don't want to make any assumptions based on that. We still have to recover the planes, and then we have to look at those, and it takes some significant work to really understand how the two came together, but we have some great experts at the NTSB who are well-versed in that, and whose job it is to figure that out.
And just, forgive me if you addressed this earlier in
Sure.
the news release, but recovery of the planes, can you give the status and location on each of those at this point?
Well, we're leaving now to look at where the wreckage is and where the accident scene is, so I'll have more information on that tomorrow at the briefing. So, anything else you want to add to that? No?
If you could repeat the question.
Yeah,
Oh,
just the status of the wreckage, the location of each, what you
yeah.
tell us. A little more specific if possible.
As she mentioned, once we leave here, we're going to be provided an opportunity to go up and see the scene, hopefully weather permitting. I'm not sure if anything, the conditions have changed since we've been here. That'll give us a better perspective as far as where the wreckages are in relation to each other. The recovery efforts will begin tomorrow. There is a company here in town now that does a lot of recovery work here in the state of Alaska. He's assembling teams of divers as well, because there is some wreckage that is located well under the water surface. And so he is assembling his recovery team as well, along with barges and so forth. So that recovery effort of both aircraft, it'll begin tomorrow, and obviously work at the pace that the conditions allow.
Depth of the water, maybe conditions of the water?
At this point, I'm not exactly sure what all the information we're going to be gathering.
Any further questions? Yes.
Allison Hurst with CTV News in Vancouver. Just wondering if you can comment on which direction perhaps the planes were going, if they were coming to, and what time frame?
Well, the one plane was in a southwest heading, and the other plane was in a west-southwest heading, and they were both inbound to Ketchikan. As for the time, we believe that the collision occurred around 12:21 p.m., and we're looking at information on where they started, but again, we have requested additional information for that from the FAA.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
if you don't mind. Cassie from KTVA. Just a clarification, what is the death toll so far for this?
The question is on the losses from the collision, and rescue efforts are still continuing. This is something that is ongoing, and I'm going to defer that question to local authorities. We're here to conduct the accident investigation. As far as recovery efforts, that is something that they're working on. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, this is Alex Damar Vaughn from Anchorage